Welcome everyone. My name is Amit Sodha. I'm one of the hosts of the Online Coaching Congress. And today's guest is an incredible lady called Sue Patel. She's written a fantastic book as well called Putting the Human Back into HR. So she is actually a HR coach. And so this is a brilliant and a very unique niche as well. And I think I've personally never come across another HR coach. And I know that you've had in particular quite an interesting journey to get to this point and what's led you to this point as well. So firstly, why don't you just take a second just to tell everyone who you are and what it is exactly that you do?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And it's so great to be here with everyone. So I am a coach and mentor for HR professionals. I've been in the HR industry for over 30 years. Most of my career was with Tesco. I worked in various roles in HR, working in stores, and also in head office, writing policy and the processes and training material for the business. One of my legacies within HR was to design a development program for HR professionals that was launched nationwide. And it's no surprise that I ended up being a coach and mentor for HR professionals. I was made redundant in 2016, and I just thought, what can I do that I don't have to leave my finances in the hands of an organization? Like, what can I do for myself? So I set up my own company. And at first I, set up a consulting business, HR consulting business, working with small to medium businesses locally. And since then I thought, what, this is just more of the same. I want to do more, want more. So I published my book, as you mentioned, in 2019, and then just really connecting with so many people at the back of that, have now built my brand as a coach and mentor for HR professionals, which has been incredible. I love it. It's not work for me, it's just, I just really love what I do, really making a difference to people. And one of the reasons I went into this is just so that HR professionals can really build their confidence and credibility in the profession, to provide them with the support that they need, which they don't often get. So that's
They obviously have a lot to deal with as well. They obviously have a big burden to carry on their shoulders, the amount of work they do and the kind of work that they do as well. I think that it's probably underestimated the emotional drain that it can be supporting other people. But just a quick call back to something you were saying as well about your book. A couple of spin-off questions on that as well, because I think that's something that fascinates a lot of people. So firstly, did you get it published or self-published? And secondly, was it in your head, and did you think as well it'd be a good way to make a name for yourself in this niche? Or was it just something you wanted to do, and it just came out, almost accidental in a way, but you just decided to write a book, and as a result, it became an even greater launch pad to your success now?
Yeah, I think it wasn't something, like 5 years ago, it was not a thing that was even in existence or a thought really. And I went to an event, it was an Andy Harrington event actually in London, with my brother. And Andy Harrington was talking about, how you can write a book and really, make a name for yourself out there. And my brother was like, Sue, like, you can write a book, go and write a book and be on that stage one day. And I was like, oh my God, what would I write about? And I really thought that, what, the people that I really want to help are other HR professionals. There's so many of them dealing with things like imposter syndrome, lack of confidence, lack of self-worth, not feeling valued in the organization, trying to figure out whether their role is about delivering KPIs or, all about the business, or is it about the people? They're kind of like in between. I call it the proverbial pig in the middle, really. And I was like, actually, I want to help them with what I know. And I know that, in all the HR roles that I've worked in, I have made an incredible name for myself. I've really worked hard to win hearts and minds of people. And I want to help other HR professionals do the same. So the book kind of came about as a result of those kind of feelings at the time. And, I was like, I want to really make a big impact in the world of, of HR. So I decided to write the book, and I'm not going to say it was easy, because there were loads of moments when I myself was dealing with like imposter syndrome of like, who's going to want to read my book? What have I got to say that anybody will want to read? So it really held me back in lots of ways, but I was really determined. And, again, myself as a coach, it's important that we surround ourselves with the right people as well. So, my coach and mentors were not having it that I wasn't going to now publish my book. So they really had my back and, wanted it more than me in some cases, but yeah, they really supported me to get my chapters written. I've had an incredible team, writing my foreword, and, really just the support that I've had with that. And it's now out there, which is incredible. And I think even then, once I'd written the whole transcript, to send it out to a few HR professionals to kind of sense check was like really a scary thing to do, but the feedback was incredible, and it just really gave me the confidence to go out there and publish it. So yeah, and the book is all about the 5 pillars that HR can really focus on to be more balanced. It's not all about processes and policies. It's also about partnerships, productivity, performance, and progress. So, just really having a good balance of all of those things. Yeah, and it's just been incredible, the amount of people that have, read my book that I've never met before. And, it's just inspiring. There's days where I wake up in the morning and I find a LinkedIn message on my phone saying, I bought your book and I've read your book, and, I've read your book, and it's just incredible. It's like my Bible. And to really make that kind of an impact on someone who's either new to HR or been struggling in HR is just incredible. So
Let's be.
it didn't just.
Did you self-publish in the end, or did you?
No, I didn't. I had a really amazing publisher help me, Rethink Press. And they did an amazing job. I think for me, it was really important that the book was really professional, and I would feel proud of somebody reading it on the train. And they've done an incredible job with the getting the editing right, the title, the colors, all of it. And it was never really about me making money from the book, really. I just really wanted to get my message out there, and that was what was there for me to really make a difference to HR professionals.
Beautiful. And because I think that obviously people often talk about getting a book published and how difficult it can be. What was your journey of connecting with a publisher as well and getting them to take your work seriously? Was that tricky? Was that fraught with challenges on its own, or kind of did the context just kind of line up and then it just sort of kind of materialized?
Yeah, I think it's important, whatever you do, to share it with as many people as you can, because you never know who'd be able to help you. So I wrote the transcript, I had it all written, and I was like, now how do I turn it into a book, And I'd spoken to a couple of people who have published books in the past, and I just really wasn't feeling it. So I just really kept holding on to that. Okay, the right person's going to come along. And then I spoke to my really good friend Beju Solanki, and he'd just published his book. And he said, look, why don't you have a word with my publishers? And they were the perfect people. They were, it was a really great match. I loved their energy and who they were. And yeah, we worked in great partnership together to publish a really amazing book that I'm really proud of.
I don't want to take up all the time just talking about the book, but I could ask you about another 1,000 questions just about the book alone. But I know you personally as well, and you've got a pretty fascinating story of why you ended up down this entrepreneur path. You've got your own journey, your own story. So why don't you just share, kind of like give people an overview of what happened to you that made you decide to now take this journey? And I think people need to take note of this as well, because sometimes it's through the biggest challenges or tragedy that many of us, myself included, who end up becoming coaches, because we've been through it and we see other people struggling and we want to help other people who are going through the same thing. And so I know that's my journey, I know that's yours as well, but tell everyone about your story and how you got to this point.
Yeah, sure. I think I said earlier that I've been in corporate for all of my life, really, that all I've ever known is being employed. And I think in 2016 it was a real pivotal year for me. So in the February, I just separated from my husband after 10 years, thinking, what, it's not easy to do, but I'll make it work. I've got a job, I've got income, I'll make it work. And then the following month, I got told about being made redundant. So that was a real shock. And then obviously in the following month after that, in April, I had to sell my house. So you can imagine, you know, I went from having a secure family network, a secure job and income, and living in my own home to being a single parent for the first time in my life, having no job, no income, and living in a rented home for the first time in, like, I don't know, 30 years of my life. And you know, it was a real low point of time for me, you know. And I had been, like most people, you know, in my corporate job, working on autopilot, just being on autopilot, just go to work, earn the money, come home, you know. And I just didn't have the awareness of who I really was in the world. But I know one thing was, when that happened to me in 2016, you know, it was a real low point for me. But what I decided from that was that, you know, I'm not going to leave my financial security in the hands of an organization ever again, and that I was going to create wealth and create income for myself. So that's what kind of made me, like, you know, think, okay, I'm going to do this. But even that, you know, wasn't really simple to do. Like, I've never run a business before. You know, I really missed my manager, my colleagues, being in the surroundings of being part of a team. You know, as you know, somebody working on my own, I felt very lonely. But very quickly I started to think, okay, what can I do? So I joined networks, you know, business networks locally, and started to create that team and belonging, you know, around me. And I surrounded myself with amazing mentors who'd been in business for years, who really supported me on my journey. But I do remember coming home from my first networking meeting where I had to do my pitch. I literally came home and cried because it was so hard to do. um, but you know, it was a good learning. You know, it was a really, really good experience. And like now, you know, since then, obviously, you know, as I've published my book, and reaching out to lots of different people on social media, and connecting with amazing passionate entrepreneurs, and you know, business people who really want to go out there and make a difference. I was given a great opportunity literally 3 months after I published my book. A guy reached out to me on Messenger, and he said, "Hi Sue, I've seen you published your book. Um, I'd really want to speak to you about collaborating for our next event." And when I looked him up, he was the president of the HR association in the Maldives. And I was like, what? Anyway, we had a conversation, and 2 months later, I was in the Maldives delivering a keynote about my book in front of 400 people with my daughter in the audience. It was just so incredible.
And the Maldives of all, please
I
tell me
know.
that's a holiday, right?
It was just incredible. You know, they'd paid for my flights, my accommodation. They bought 150 copies of my book. They put us up in a resort for a week afterwards. It was just really incredible, you know, and I felt really blessed that I'd manifested that in my life after such a really difficult time. So yeah, it was really awesome.
A powerful story of just showing what happens when you follow your whether people want to call it your passion, your why, your purpose, whatever, what things can happen. And I think that, you know, what's occurred to me a lot recently is just how much that, you know, I just had this thought. I was meditating, and I had this thought that why we, you know, going back 100 years when we were sort of all, you know, our ancestors working in manual labor and things like that, it wasn't so hard in life because your mind was still free. So whether you're doing something very manual labor orientated, your mind is still free and available to think. But in this day and age, if you're doing something which you don't enjoy, your mind is so invested in it, you don't feel free because your mind has to be focused there. And so that's the big difference. And this is why this time is more challenging for people, that if you're not doing something which is for you, your purpose, your passion, whatever, then you're going to struggle even more, because any sense of freedom that would have been there, say, for example, if you're doing a manual labor job, like I love doing manual labor because my mind is free to think about whatever I want, you know, when it's especially a relatively automated task, you know, if I'm doing a bit of DIY, I can think about whatever I want. But you can't do that in a creative or a management or a stressful role where your mind is occupied, and so much more these days. Just your story though, showing some of the rewards that can come. Don't get me wrong, equally can be very hard when you take that step of going out on your own, and it is going to be bloody hard, for want of a better phrase. But it really put the time and effort in, it can be equally rewarding as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So listen, what would you say, right? So from this whole experience, what would you say has been one of the toughest challenges of making that transition? And the biggest thing that you've learned from it that you would share to anyone who's taking that step right now?
Oh my God, I've learned so many things, a lot of things about myself and who I am. So it's taken a lot for me to become grounded in who I am. And I think as business owners, we tend to focus so much on what we want to have. Like, we want to make the income, we want the money, we want the status or be successful or whatever that is, right? We want to have all of these things. But, often we don't realize what the cost is of having all of that. And we can end up working ourselves into the ground, not being available for our family, not taking care of ourselves. So one thing that I've really realized is, what, my business is going to work out if I'm passionate, I'm, connected to who I am and who I'm being. So it's very much about, I've had to become the person that is going to have a successful business first before I have a successful business. So I think that's really important for all coaches or business owners really to really get is, who do you need to become to be successful in your company? Become that first, and everything else will pan out. It will work out. But you've got to become that person first.
One statement, one quote that everyone can take away, because I think that's so fundamental.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, pressure's on now. So become the person that you need to become first to have a successful business, because in the becoming of who you need to be, business doesn't have to be hard or difficult, because you've become the person that you need to be to create that.
Perfect.
Often, yeah, or just because we chase the thing, don't we? We chase the what we want to have, and we're not focused on growing or developing who we are, and then it becomes hard and a struggle, and then people give up. So it's really important. Sorry, just quickly, I just myself have experienced lack of confidence or lack of self-worth or imposter syndrome and all of that, but being really grounded in who I am, like, it doesn't phase me now. There are lots of other people out there who are doing amazing things, but I don't get knocked off my path because I'm so grounded in who I am.
No, that's beautiful sharing as well. I think that's probably for me going to be one of the most powerful takeaways for anyone from probably this whole conference, which is that, you've got to learn to be who it is you choose to be in any given moment. And when you're being that, everything sort of starts to fall into place. But if you're trying to chase success or chase something or chase money or whatever it is, that's when we tend to flop because we're chasing the wrong thing. And those things never really give us that much satisfaction anyway, because we're doing this for the love of doing it. The other stuff will come later and we can enjoy that when it happens, but focus on the thing you want to be and the thing you enjoy. Yeah, it makes such a big difference as well. So
Yeah.
what would be kind of your sort of top sort of maybe 3, 4, 5 tips in your niche for your audience and stuff that you would give about kind of, how to work, not work on yourself, but, just in terms of your personal development tips for people to take away about, whatever it is that you would normally give as an offering in your coaching and stuff like that, the top tips that you give to people about their journey and what they need to do and focus on.
Yeah, really simply, it's not just for my niche, but for everybody who's out there, looking to create success in all areas of their life, really. And it's things that I've had to do, from, being made redundant to where I am now, is to really have a vision for what it is you want in your life. And having a vision really helps you focus on what it is you do want. Because when you don't have that, what you tend to do is focus on everything that you don't want, which is things are not going to work out, things are going to be difficult if I don't do this, or I'm never going to get that job or whatever. But when you have a vision, you're creating like what you want, what you are going to put in there, and you suddenly take ownership for your life being the way it's going to turn out. Like, you're in charge. Like, we are 100% responsible for our lives. So having that vision to start with really works. So that's number one. Number two is to really work on you, right? So I've already said it about becoming the person that you need to become to fulfill that vision. you know, like that job that you want to get, whether it's a head of HR role or a HR director role, who do you need to become to fulfill that role and become that now in the job that you're doing now, you know? And that will take something, but you get to decide what your branding is and how you show up. So but it's really important to work on that. Often we're comparing ourselves to other people, and you know, we've got all that mindset stuff going on, so it's really important to work on that, your mindset. And I would say to work on some of that is, you know, get yourself a coach and mentor, read amazing books, some, you know, awesome books out there that I started with are like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That was one of my favorite books to, you know, really start working on my personal development. And then books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, you know, can really make a massive difference on how you are with people around you. And you take the focus on you, and you start focusing on serving other people and being with other people. So that's the second one, is really work on yourself to become the person you need to become to fulfill that vision. And then the third thing is to look at what your limiting beliefs are. Like, you've got to do the work. Often what stops us from becoming the people that we want to become, we've got a story from our past that's holding us back. And lots of people don't want to go there and, you know, open up the box and look at, you know, what was it that happened and what did I decide about it. And you know, they don't want to do that because it hurts, and nobody wants to be reminded of the pain. But you've got to do the work, right, on, you know, really clearing out some of those old stories so that you could be freed up. And I'll just give you an example. You know, I had a lady on one of my courses, and you know, she said, you know, when I was at school, you know, I put my hand up in class to answer a question, and I got it wrong, and everybody laughed, and she just decided that she was never going to do that again, you know. And so she's now really scared to like show up on her LinkedIn, or you know, just really speak up. And you know, that was a story she made up when she was 11, you know, and it's held her back for the last 20 odd years. It's just incredible, the stuff that stops us. And as soon as she like, you know, recognized that, it allowed her to be a bit more freed up. So really open up those old, you know, look in the box and see what stories are there that are holding you back. And we'll have limiting beliefs around, you know, money, relationships, our health, all these things that will really stop us from progressing. And you know, we call them blind spots because we don't even know they're there, but when you start looking, you'll see them. And then I would say work on your habits. So this is a real key one, because I really believe in being consistent. So, you know, to really help replace old habits that, you know, that don't empower you, you've got to create more empowering habits. So really work on them. You know, a great book called Atomic Habits. I think you've read it, haven't you, Amit?
Yeah, love that book.
Yeah, it's such a great book to, you know, really start helping you develop those empowering habits. And you know, things like, you know, you said earlier around meditation. You know, I get up every morning at 5:30. I do my prayers, my meditation, my affirmations, my gratitudes, my journaling, my visualizations. It's like my hour of power. You know, I think Tony Robbins calls it the, is it the power of, yeah, the hour of
Yeah,
power, doesn't it?
that's what he
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. And you know, it's so important, and we underestimate the impact of doing those things. So then we put other things in place, like, you know, go and just have your breakfast, or go and do other things, you know, whereas actually make time to do those things, because that's what has me be who I am, you know, be really grounded in who I am. So make time to develop those habits, and don't underestimate the power of that. You know, and I often do believe that, you know, people tend to go to meditation or, you know, visualizations or journaling as a result of burnout, or, you know, not feeling great, you know, anxiety and whatever. But actually I really feel that it prevents me from feeling that way ever, you know. And I totally believe in prevention is the cure. So really put those habits in place, and then take action. You know, what's going to really have you get closer to delivering your vision, and then go and do it. So those are the things that I would really, you know, suggest, or you know, want my, you know, my audience HR professionals out there to really take away and start implementing in their lives. The first one, having a vision, is really powerful because often we just don't have the clarity around what it is we want. And actually, even a lot of the time, we think we want something, but that want can often be because somebody's expecting us to be that or want that. So the job, or we're doing the job that we do because all our friends are in jobs, or all our families have always ever been in jobs. But actually, what we really want to do is go and open up a YouTube channel about beauty and skincare, and you're not doing it because actually it'll be frowned upon and people won't accept that. But create it, create that vision, create what you want in your life, because that's what's really going to have you be fulfilled.
Absolutely. There's a bit of feedback, so I won't say too much, but I want to round off. We're almost coming to the end, and I want to round off with a couple of things, which is why should every individual hire a coach? And also, what is the benefit to every organization that uses coaching tools or hires coaching professionals to coach their team? So two-pronged question: why should every individual have a coach, and what is the benefit to organizations of hiring professional coaches to coach their teams as well? So if we want to give a quick roundup of your answers to those two questions as well.
Totally. So a couple of things around coaching is that we're so great at helping other people, all right? And most people will really resonate with this, but when it comes to ourselves, we put ourselves at the bottom of the list. And a coach and a mentor, is really looking out for your success, often more than you. So that's what coaching really provides. Coaching and mentoring really provides that for you. Somebody who's got your back, and will call you out on your BS, So that's one thing about coaching and mentoring. And the other thing is that, everyone's life works. We're all making life work. We all get by. But if you want exponential success or progression, then a coach and mentor can really help you get there a lot quicker than what if you were doing it on your own. So two reasons why a coach and a mentor really work. All right. So, I don't ever operate without a coach and mentor in my life. And then for organizations that have coaches and mentors, exactly for that, if you want the best talent, the best people in the organization, you want to make sure that they are, that they're looked after and supported, they have someone that they can go to. I don't always believe that your manager is the best person to speak to about you not feeling great in your role, or, feeling a bit demotivated, because it can always have an impact when it comes to your appraisal and your performance review, right? So I don't always believe a manager is the best person to speak to when it comes to things that you're dealing with. And exactly for the same reasons why I have a coach, to have a coach for your team is just really to have them be totally empowered and be at their best. Like, who wouldn't want that for their team?
Absolutely. I agree with that whole manager point as well. This is why some people or some organizations make sure that you have a mentor that's not related to your department or someone else, like a different manager, so that it doesn't have any blowback on yourself. And I think that that's a really important thing. So I wanted to say as well then, to round this up as well, what would be kind of like your key takeaway message to everyone? And also as well, have you got any workshops you're running at the moment? So for anyone out there who's perhaps in HR or even interested in the HR niche, what are you offering right now as well that they can possibly attend, and what's the call to action for them?
Yeah, so thank you, Amit. So I'm running two particular programs. There's a group coaching program for HR professionals that I run, and I also run a one-to-one coaching and mentoring program as well. And for anybody that's interested in really progressing in their HR career, please get in touch. My LinkedIn, you've got my LinkedIn details, Amit. So yeah, just to get in touch and send me a message, and we'll book in a call and see what it is that you really want to work on and what goals you really want to action.
Perfect. And like your takeaway message to everyone as well out there listening in right now, one powerful message you could send to everyone.
Yeah, so one powerful message that I say to nearly everyone is, often we feel that excellence is something that we've got to go out there and chase, that, we've got to go and be something, right? We've got to go out there and get something. but actually excellence is a place to come from, you know, and you're already there. You just got to, you know, shine a light on it.
Unleash it.
Yes, totally.
Absolutely. So I just want to say a huge thank you, Sue Patel, for anyone watching this right now at the Online Coaching Congress. All of Sue's details will be there. You can connect with her and just search for her online as well. But I just want to take a moment to say thank you, Sue Patel, HR coach, her book, Putting the Human Back into HR, and of course, extraordinary individual as well. Incredible story. Everything you've been through that's led you to this point, and you're sharing your wisdom with the world. And I know it is inspiring so many people. So thank you so much for coming on to the Online Coaching Congress and sharing this with the world as well, which I know is going to benefit so many more people as well.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you very much. Stay with me. All righty. Take care. Bye.